Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously. The charges are dismissed.
That coming out as a St. Johnsbury police officer accused of excessive force during an arrest last year was officially cleared of wrongdoing.
After a more than 6-hour-long hearing, the Vermont Criminal Justice Council came to a final decision that the officer's use of force was reasonable.
Channel 3's Kiana Burks joins us now in the studio. Kiana, walk us through this case.
Well, Darren and Kat, this all stems from an incident from December of last year. Officer James McGowan was responding to a disturbance in Barre where he used to work. He can be seen on body cam video pushing the suspect to the ground and punching him in the head multiple times. We obtained that video back when this happened. And before we show it to you, a warning, you might find this clip disturbing.
Stop fighting! Stop fighting! I'm being attacked by you. Stop.
An initial investigation found that those blows were unauthorized per Barre Police Department rules. But state police also reviewed the case and found McGowan's conduct did not warrant criminal charges. Despite that, town officials suggested firing McGowan after records showed he had a previous policy infraction. He resigned instead and took a job with the St. Johnsbury Police Department. The most recent hearing before the Criminal Justice Council was to determine again whether McGowan had engaged in unprofessional conduct. They found it was reasonable and dismissed the initial findings with a unanimous 18-0 vote. St. Johnsbury's town manager says the town always stood by their hire and felt confident in his ability to perform his duties despite the controversy.
I think Officer McGowan was a good addition to the town of St. Johnsbury. I understand the seriousness of the charges, but I think everybody did their part in following up on this. And if people did have concerns because of the allegations, I hope that they can feel at ease that we're not hiring officers that are going to put them or their families at risk.
Now, Whitehead went on to say that the unanimous vote speaks to Officer McGowan's justification for his actions. Darren, Kat.